Moving on, 102, we have the idea here in Module 7 under the Record and Play Sounds in Music. This is 7-25, I believe, anyway, it's the figure I'm talking about, is the idea of recording audio and or music. And really, again, the textbook takes a direction here that I think is kind of unnecessary. It goes into the idea of sound cards. Yes, genuinely, there are sound cards built into all of our equipment. It's actually usually it's part of the central processor now. The CPU has audio processing right on there. That used to be called a sound card because we would literally need a big card that would snap into your motherboard to be able to do that. This is no longer 1987. We don't have to do that for the most part. Most people, including professional editors, really don't have to worry about that. And you, as a new and a novice and a learning user, would never have to worry about that. For the most part, if you are on a PC, if you are on a Mac, if you are on a Chromebook, even if you are on something like an iPad or an Android tablet, you have what you need to be able to record audio. You have what you need to be able to record video. So we're going to break this up into two parts, and we're going to talk about audio first and video second. The first thing to know about audio is, yes, it's true. If I am recording from a phone, for instance, and a phone makes a modern smartphone, and I mean modern in anything in the last 10 years, will make a fine piece of audio and video recording equipment. You do not have to go crazy fancy here. It's also true, however, that I am looking into my camera right here. My camera is my iPhone. This is an iPhone 13. So it's certainly not new. It's certainly not top of the line. But it does have very decent microphones. It's got a whole array of them on the backside, on the bottom, and on the front. Great. They're just okay when recording like this. The distance between me and the phone here is approximately 3 feet. And that means it's going to take a lot of the volume that's happening here around me in my office, and you're going to be able to hear that. Honestly, the first thing to know about recording anything for audio is to get an inexpensive microphone. So I have two options I'll show you here. Both of them were under $20, and both of them I use all the time, depending on where I am recording. I will mention that right here in front of me, you can see, and I did not turn the mute on. That's good. Right here in front of me, you will see I have an Elgato Wave 3 microphone. I got it open box to replace my Blue Yeti microphone that was 7 years old and starting to make hissing noises in my audio. You really don't need to spend that much. I will tell you honestly, I'm not super duper pleased with this one. I have to do a lot more to get good audio. I have to do a lot more to get good audio than I got out of this, which is a $20 Amazon Basics microphone. That's all the more that cost. You can see some of our older rvccis.info videos right here on YouTube. You can hear some of them in Spotify and iTunes and places like that. And this is the microphone, the $20 Amazon Basics microphone that I use to do all of that audio. It connects with USB, and there's literally nothing you have to do. You plug it in, there's a mute button on top, and if it's not muted, it can record audio. It's fantastic. The other one I use an awful lot, especially when I do recording, if I move someplace else in my office or if I'm in a classroom at Rock Valley, is right here. This is a wireless microphone. This connects right to the bottom of my phone. So this one is a Lightning USB wireless microphone, but you can get them in USB-C as well. And that one came in a pack of two for, again, under $20. I believe it was $13 for that one. And honestly, the sound is fine. And it's going to sound much better than the native audio, the stuff that I can record off of my phone for free. And mostly, just myself and other people who do like YouTube videos and etc. You can see it all the time when you watch TikToks. Is they'll have like the old-fashioned iPhone earbuds in, because that microphone even is 1,000 times better than the one that comes just with your phone. Having a microphone is a huge advantage. Now that you have a microphone, we're going to need to be able to record your audio. So if you have a Mac, you have a program called QuickTime, and you can record audio right from there. You're in good shape. If you have a Windows PC, you have a piece of software, you'll guessed it, called Recorder. I know. That will be able to record your audio, no problem. If you're on a Chromebook, your options are a little more limited. Honestly, it depends on the kind of Chromebook you have and how old it is. You'll have to find an app to be able to do that recording. However, you can also look for Recorder on your Chromebook, and you'll be able to find that there. Now, what you can use any of those three pieces of software on any of those three platforms, and you will be in okay or even good shape. What I will show you here is called Audacity, and this is one of the most widely used and free pieces of audio recording and editing software. So you can see behind me here what the interface for Audacity looks like. Now, I will put the download link immediately below this video for you. I will also try and remember to put the names of those microphones for you down there too. This is what the interface for Audacity looks like. Now, I can't click on anything here because as soon as I do, I'm going to lose my microphone, and I don't want to do that. So I'll just show you and tell you how to be able to do things behind us here. On the very top row, you will see pause, play, stop, fast forward, rewind, and record. Honestly, using Audacity is as simple as this. Once you hit record, you guessed it, it's going to start recording. What you'll see is that waveform. Everybody's familiar with seeing it, right? The little up and down pattern of what sound looks like. That is what it's recording for you. When you're done, you hit stop, and that's it. From there, I suggest you save that file. It has the typical Windows or Mac layout for the file menu. So you go to File and say Save As and save it someplace. You can also, you'll see the wave form for a file there. You can also go through and, remove any, if there's no waveform, that means that there was no sound. You can remove those pieces. If you know you screwed up, this is my suggestion. Oh, you've made a mistake. Be silent for a moment. That being silent takes that waveform, drops it down to 0. It gives you something immediately evident and visual to find that says, okay, now I get to delete the thing that happens on the back end of that silence and keep the stuff that happens on the front end of that silence. When you're done editing, which will take a little bit of time to get used to, I will tell you that much is true, but when you are done editing, you can go back to File and say Save As and pick the format of the service that you are going to save it to. So if you're going to use Spotify as your service for your podcast, if you're going to use YouTube as the service for your podcast, if you are going to use iTunes as the service for your podcast, you can export your audio recording in whatever makes sense for that. So a free piece of software, Audacity, a $20 or below microphone, and you can have a good sounding, easy to manage podcast that you can distribute anywhere for your digital media life. And that's pretty fantastic.